Hello everyone, welcome to Under the Gun. I am Jon Friedberg, and I am at the Bellagio right now where the Festa al Lago is currently just about down to the final table. And I wanted to talk to a new person on the poker scene, at least the poker media scene. His name is Tony Dunst, and if you haven't read already, you will soon, or you'll certainly see him soon. He is going to be hosting a new segment in the World Poker Tour called the Raw Deal, which is basically a strategy sort of analytical role. And anyway, so Tony agreed to come on the show, and we can talk a little bit with him and hear what his plans are with the World Poker Tour and learn a little bit more about him as a person. But before I have Tony on, of course, I have to give an update on my Under the Gun challenge. And there's also something else I want to talk about, which is full tilt poker. Now, I read something recently about a scandal that occurred where full tilt, apparently there was, or I should say allegedly, there was a company called Shanky Technologies that was selling bot software to people, and they were selling bots for like $130, which basically was a computer program that you buy, and then you create an account on something like Full Tilt, and just like any person would, you create an account, but instead of you playing, you have the computer software playing for you. So anyway, Full Tilt basically discovered that there was a large amount of bots playing in their Rush poker games and ceased all the accounts, confiscated the funds, and cracked down on everything. Now, I have a couple of things to say about this. First of all, Full Tilt Poker, you are awesome. Thank you so much for doing that. I think it was a great thing that you were aware that this was going on and you were able to crack down on it, and you took very serious action, because that is what's necessary in order to keep poker, online poker, a safe place. So I want to thank Full Tilt Poker very much for doing a great job on that. Shanky Technologies, on the other hand, somehow feels like they got screwed. And in a letter that they wrote to Full Tilt, again, this is all information that I read online, so I don't know if it's 100% accurate or not, but I'm assuming it is. In a letter they wrote to Full Tilt, they were saying that they basically got screwed. Full Tilt had no right to take this money away from all these players, and yes, they knew that it was wrong and against the rules to play with bots on Full Tilt, but Full Tilt didn't have to take such harsh action. Well, all I have to say is, you have to be effing kidding me, Shanky Technologies. I wish Full Tilt would have done it sooner, and you absolutely deserve to have all those accounts shut down, and the whole world needs to know about you, and I hope all other poker software, UB, Stars, everybody, I hope they all find a way to not allow you guys on the site. So, quite honestly, I hope your company goes under. What you're doing was shady and unethical, and there's absolutely no need for that type of business, in my opinion, of course. Anyway, let's get to my Under the Gun challenge. Well, I don't have too much to report in my Under the Gun challenge. This month has really been sort of a kind of a taking it easy month for me. I spent a week with my family in Houston. Prior to that, I believe my last Under the Gun challenge update was I had played about 4,000 hands, and I had lost about $2,500, I think, which was well below EV. Well, since then, I've only played one session in the last 2 weeks, maybe a couple small sessions. I think I'm down another 500, so this month I'm currently down about $3,000. I've only played 6,000 hands, and I'd say it's about, if memory serves, it's about 4,000 hands of 1-2 and probably 2,000 hands of 2-4. My EV line, however, I don't have the graph handy today here, but my EV line shows that I should be down around 1,100. Instead, I'm down about 3,000. So clearly I'm running well below where I should be. I'm 1,900 below EV. Only 6,000 hands this month. I plan on taking it easy this month just because I've been a little bit frustrated with poker lately, and there's been a lot of other things going on that I've been dealing with. But I'm hoping to get in 20,000 hands this month, and maybe 30 if I can really come through at the end of the month. But we'll see. So that is the update on my challenge for now. Hopefully I'll hit 20,000 hands this month, and again, I will be fighting to at least get even this month and hopefully turn a profit. Alright, the moment we've all been waiting for, Mr. Tony Dunst. I'm real excited to have him on the show, and he's sitting right next to me, so let's hear what he has to say. Mr. Tony Dunst.
How you doing?
Good. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
You are the talk of the town right now in the poker world with your new Raw Deal gig.
Yes.
Congratulations on that. So, how did it come about?
Well, there was an audition process in Los Angeles. They allowed people to send in videos, and then they went and did the Legends of Poker. They had an audition. I wasn't able to make that one. So they allowed me to come into the office and do sort of a separate audition about a week later, and went in there and did that for them. Then they said, you've made the final audition, can you please come back in a few days, and there'll be 6 of you now, and see who pulls it out, and that turned out to be me, fortunately, so here we are.
Well, I seem to remember getting a phone call from somebody with the name Tony Dunst, asking how my audition went, so you could prepare for
You gave me the inside track, man.
I gave you the inside track, so quite honestly, I think you owe me your life.
Some cut of my salary, at least.
Well, at least
minimum.
51%.
Yeah.
I mean, So, anyway, congratulations on that.
I plan on arguing you down to 50.
Okay, deal. We got it. You heard that. So, I know there's a lot of press releases and things about what your deal or what your position will entail.
Yes.
But if you could just sum it up real quick.
Sure. Basically, about once or twice an episode, I'm going to pop up in a separate segment where, over a course of perhaps 30 seconds to a minute, I comment on both the technical strategy of a hand we witnessed and the sort of conduct and style and demeanor of the people at the table. And just try and make it sort of entertaining and witty and fun and a very sort of breezy look at strategy.
And is that supposed to be kind of very sort of unfiltered and point blank?
Very much so. And they're really letting me get imaginative and creative with it. Honestly, I went and did some tapings yesterday, and the kind of concept I came away with from doing it is, you watch The Daily Show and they have their sort of guests, correspondents pop up, and they provide content, but they're also kind of on a level in the sense that they're over the top and ridiculous. That was sort of the idea I ran with there.
So, are you expecting to make friends on this deal, or lose some friends? With poker players.
Right. I certainly hope that I'll make friends, and I think a lot of the guys that I'll even be criticizing, I have pre-existing relationships with. For example, one of the guys that I had to take the piss out of yesterday during filming was Dwight Pilgrim, who I played with all day on day 3 of the series, got along well, had a lot of nice things to say about him in my blog and in general, and he talked some trash on the table, and I call him out for it, but, it's nothing personal. I think it's part of my job to be a little bit more outspoken and confrontational, but at the end of the day, no big deal.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I know you had a deep run in the main event, which I would like to ask about, but, I haven't really met you before,
no,
so, I've been on the poker tour scene for a few years. Are you new to the scene? What's your, how did you get to where you are now?
Well, I lived in Australia predominantly for the last 5 years, so the only time I was around the United States or North American poker scene was when I would come over for the World Series, and I played the WPT Championship just once. Otherwise, I was playing predominantly in the Pacific or Australasian area. I've done a little bit of play in Europe, and really built my career online and within Australia. So a lot of people, are speaking to me or meeting me for their first time, but I've been around the whole industry for about 7 years now.
What was in Australia?
Well, first time I ever went over there was for the Aussie Millions poker tournament. Then I went back for school, and then I met a young woman who kept me there for a few years. And after that, I just really fell in love with the country and the people and the way they go about things, and was happy to stay there as long as I was able to, which was up until about April this year. And now I live here.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, are you still with the the lovely Australian girl?
No, I'm not. No, she wound up going on to be sponsored by PokerStars, and is now the ambassador for poker in China and Hong Kong and Macau. Okay. And we're on good terms and everything, but we are no longer a couple.
Okay. So, are you involved at all right now, or are you just sort of living the life?
I do. There's a girl that I think of rather seriously back in Melbourne, but we had a relationship going before I left. And, we're both very realistic. She sees other people, I see other people, especially with the distance, and, everyone's easygoing and cool about it, and then I sort of do the more flashy lifestyle here in Vegas, I guess. But, honestly, even my Vegas lifestyle lately has not been anything extravagant. I mostly hang around my house and play poker or go to the gym.
So what about when, next season or later this season, or is it this season, on the World Poker Tour,
right,
when your pieces start to air on TV, and suddenly you're going to be, somewhat of a household, at least in the, for people that watch poker, you'll be somewhat of a face, household face. you'll be able to go out to clubs and, girls will be throwing the bras and panties at you.
Does that happen then when you become a household name in poker?
I can tell you from experience it does.
Really?
As a matter of fact. But I can also tell you from experience...
Can I see your panty collection?
It only lasts for about 3 years after your, the last time you were on TV. And then, you just sort of get recycled into the, it's like a new generation of TV stars. So are you looking
I've got
that?
three years of boom time.
And
after that, it's bullet in the head.
Well, I guess you've had some TV exposure on the World Series.
Yes.
So you have about 3 years of juggling boobies or whatever you might want to do. Awesome.
Excellent.
So let's talk about the main event this
Sure.
year. You finished, was it 50th?
Yeah.
Okay. And you have made sort of a kind of set your image for yourself by being like the James Bond-ish sort of, wear a suit when you play. Was that inspired by anybody? Was that maybe inspired by Marcel Lusk? Or
I've been doing the suit thing for a long time, and if anybody inspired it, it would probably just be my dad. My dad was a really fashionable guy. He had an entire basement full of clothing that he accumulated over a lifetime. He left GQ and Esquire magazines all around the house and started giving them to me in my teens. And I always had an interest in fashion, but not really any idea of how to execute it until my 20s, and started doing the suit thing as early as the first time I traveled to play poker. I brought like one suit with me because I knew I wanted to try and like pull it off. I just didn't know how, or really it was not exactly the best quality suit or anything like that. But it was something I wanted to do for a long time, and I guess it's no doubt that there's a admiration for the James Bond movies and the way he carried himself, and I tried to carry over that mentality into the game and not just sort of be a gentleman while I played, not lose my mind on the table and things like that.
So what was your experience in the main event? How were you able to manage to finish that deep, and should you have gone deeper?
I have no idea. I mean, should you have gone deeper? Who knows? It's the variance in this game is something you could debate on, but at the end of the day, you just have to let it go. Getting worked up because things didn't work out your way in a tournament is ridiculous. It's our job to come to peace with variance and focus on the quality of our decision making. So should I have gone deeper? I don't know. I went as deep as the cards were going to take me, and I had a great time throughout the course of this main event. It was exhausting in some regards, but also there were so many days where I just had fun on the table, and from day 3 onward, I had a friend sitting directly next to me on the tournament every single day, I think, until maybe day 7 was the first time that I didn't have like one of my real good buddies in poker, or somebody who became a good buddy in poker, sitting right next to me. So I had a blast throughout.
So do you enjoy playing with friends in situations like that? Or
Hell yeah.
Not? You do?
Oh okay. Man, I have so much fun with it. Day 1 of the Festa event, I had my roommate and the guy who owns the house that I live in, Lucky Chewy, on my table. So I iced his ass.
Oh, you live with Chewy?
Oh, yes.
Okay, so
yeah.
I live right down the street from you then.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Shit, man.
In Southern Highlands.
Yeah, that's us.
Right. I find when I play with friends that, there's so much, like, characteristics of poker, like bluffing and other things, which maybe it's just me. I find it hard to separate that from dishonesty. So I feel like friends should always be very honest with each other about things, and I feel like poker can often be a game of dishonesty.
It
so
is.
I personally
sit down at the table and tell my friends, I'm going to fuck you up today.
Okay. Fair enough. So I think for the competitive aspect, it's great, and you can do that and get away with it. But, it seems like it's... I guess tournaments are a little different because we're all sort of, playing to win. But the one thing I really hate doing is playing in cash games with friends of mine.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I'm not much of an expert at cash games, but certainly the guys who play heads-up and short-handed games, I can't imagine it's very fun to be playing with your buddy all the time.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, in tournaments, we all sort of know we're each going to have our own turn one day.
Yeah.
So, we're going to sort of fight each other out, and, it's
and fingers crossed,
a lot
see
more
who wins the
competitive,
flips
but,
at the end.
Right. But when you're playing in cash games, and I've been playing a lot lately online on UB, and I've made some friends with some of the regular players in the games that I'm in. We've gone out to dinner a few times and hang out. So now when I'm playing against them, I just feel like I should think twice before 3-betting or before stacking off on a bluff, just because.
Fuck 'em, man. Tear them apart and then buy them dinner.
I think you definitely have the right attitude, and I think I should soften up or harden up a little bit of a puss about that. So what else?
No one would believe it if they saw you berating Matt Palmer before this interview.
Yeah. Well, we could start about that, but I think I'll just hold off for now because I think he enjoys his sort of anonymousness. But anyway, so what are your plans? Are you looking to? I mean, now are you just gonna kind of become like a media figure in the poker world,
I have no
or did
idea.
this just happen by like fluke and you're just gonna see what happens?
Basically, I just try and apply myself and work hard and have fun with all the stuff that I do, and just let it take me wherever it wants to go and not be too fussed about it. So if I wind up doing a lot of media and I'm enjoying it and I find myself driven to work hard at it, then great. If I want to push I mean, what I really want is to get that sort of last piece of the puzzle and collect a big win at live poker, but it's a very difficult thing to do, and there's a lot of variance involved in that. So, right now my focus is make myself the best poker player that I can be, do a great job here for the WPT, make myself, indispensable to them, and have a great time traveling around, playing the tournaments with my roommates, and hopefully just keep improving and making quality decisions. That's really the only thing I have control of, and the rest I just let go of.
So, will you be playing in all the WPT events this year?
Not all, but many.
Okay. And have you played in many in the past?
I haven't gotten to play a ton of WPT events because they were generally in the North American or European area, and that was not a tour I got to play much of, but I've played their championship event, I've played the Bellagio Cup, and I recently played the Festa event.
Do you think the... well, are several of the buy-ins going to be coming lower? I noticed that the Legends tournament used to be 10,000, now it's 5. Are we going to be seeing that across the board in World Poker Tour events?
I think that's a smart decision, and possibly, I'm not the one involved in the decision making there, but I think it's a smart decision because poker has become so globally permeated that people have options. And since the WPT can't satellite people into their tournaments with the same volume that, say, Stars can with their NAPT, it's important for them to keep their numbers up and be realistic about the economy and the greater poker economy. So I think dropping the buy-ins at some of these events is going to lead towards healthier fields.
Well, Tony, we're pretty much running out of time here, so thank you so much for coming on the show. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for having me.
And I wish you the best of luck in the Raw Deal.
Well, thanks for giving me the leg up getting it.
Even though I pretty much, gave you that
me.
on a platter, and I'm a little upset I didn't get it myself. But anyway, I know you're going to do a great job. I look forward to watching myself, and make sure you all turn in also. Where will the WPT be aired this year?
It'll be on Fox Sports Net.
Okay, Fox Sports Net. And I understand you have a blog and a Twitter account.
I do. I'm on Twitter as Bond_18, and my blog is hosted at Cardplay.
All right, well, check him out. Tony Dunst. He's hot in poker right now. Thanks again, Tony.
Thank you.
Appreciate you coming on. Well, thank you so much for tuning in to this week's episode of Under the Gun. I certainly enjoyed it, and I hope you did as well. I will see you guys next week.